It's Rolling Green, Out of Character. So, over there on Reaction, Rants and Rabbit Holes today, a lot of interesting stuff came up. And I figured it's time to come over here and clarify and um, just so you don't sit back and go, man, that Roland, he's confused. That Roland is trying to entertain two different groups of people over there. And I'm switching my hat to me for a minute to say, here's the deal. It works like this for me. Today I was harping on some stuff that doesn't come right out of me. Okay, I have enough. It's not enough. I'm no theologian. I don't know. I really don't know that much stuff, but I have a lot of hours in certain avenues of research. If I'm wrong with pronunciations, please forgive me. But a lot of today's rhetoric comes from what is that, religare, or whatever the root word of religion is, to bind. Now that's argued. So I'm not going to say it couldn't mean the other meaning. This is an argued point, I believe. I go with the binding mechanism. Okay? Unfortunately, I do. I've said this before. We're going to bring it up again today here. I truly believe the new covenant that God created with man by sacrificing his child, which unfortunately does play out in a lot of other pagan narratives. But with that new covenant, we were freed from blood sacrifice and a binding religion that you had to basically pay to play, to every person from the top to the bottom being able to have Jesus in their heart. So I see that as a powerful thing. I draw my faith upon, I guess, that new covenant. But because I've got 100 hours in astrotheology, okay? I have weeks of research into the cosmic abandonment, Babylonian, Sumerian, Epic of Gilgamesh stuff. Not saying it's not Beowulf in great fiction. Could be. I don't know. I have tons of hours on your ancient astronaut theory. I do not preach that. I find the masonry and mystery school technologies have been hidden, I believe. I'm not sure it was aliens. I can't answer that. I don't know. But I have a ton of hours in that. I have 0 hours in a church pew. The best I can say is multiple readings of the Bible, some Bible study while I was in prison when I gave up being a Satanist. I transitioned from being pretty stupid to asking God to help me, to finding God in the rocks and the trees, finding the connection between natural law and Jesus. So that is the basis of where I'm coming from. It doesn't mean I can't grow. Obviously, can grow, but that's some of the knowledge base that today I was ranting about. Also, and I don't know if it was Peter Jennings, Tom, someone walks in the steps of Jesus. Now this has got to go back to maybe pre-2000, late 90s, if you can try to find it. But this is why I hopped on the Jesuit thing today, because I've always believed, and this was one of the was a very well received television program back in the day. I happened to be at a place called Aragoni House in St. Paul, do treatment. I was in a halfway house, And within a few weeks, it's funny. Within a few weeks of seeing this documentary, my new roommate had stole everything I owned, pawned it all over the city, relapsed, and the house said, "Tough shit, Randy. You shouldn't have had anything nice." That was their answer. That in trying to recover and dig out of crack addiction, the answer was, "You're not supposed to have anything nice." Now, let's just wonder what direction that program leaned in for a minute with an answer like that. Because that was pre 9/11, and they had me slated for my cuck cell and my metaverse hood all the way back then. They didn't care. It sure seemed like the church services were about tithing, not saving. And I found more faith at the meetings I attended with good men and women, but I attended mostly men's groups. I never wanted to be confused. And because Margaret Teresa Clay, she's passed now, so that's why I say her name like that. I'm not ashamed. I love Tisa. I had feelings of love for Tisa. I also really loved smoking crack, and I was stupid enough or naive enough to hook up with a chick in treatment. She wanted a rough biker to ravage her and some we won't talk on that fantasy scenario, but trust me, it wasn't Randy living out a fantasy scenario for those years. Someone else had a race balanced fantasy scenario that she was living out, and she discovered that Randy got her watching Family Guy and doing other stuff that she never thought she'd do, and Tisa got Randy cooking for the whole family and rolling blunts for the boys and learning a whole lot more about life than you can ever imagine. So, bless her heart, I believe she's up there looking down, even though we were not good people. So, back in those days, like I said, this program come on, and it was what I believe is basically, it was a dispelling of certain control mechanisms to free an upper class spiritual mindset from what binds them. And let me explain. So it talked about what we know factually, let's say population density versus the way a story reads. When you and I read a story and it talks about crowds of people, because of the media and the way things are portrayed and Bernays-esque storytelling, we see crowds of people as large gatherings. It's an outcome of the language, right? How we say things. When, if they really meant 7 to 10 people, when they always explain a home base is here and where he's preaching's here, and you realize when history finally shows you that that home base is right outside of the political control of the area, well, then you can start realizing that there might be more socially aware or social justice aspects to the Christ narrative, and the miracle aspect might be matters of faith. Why do I keep going back to the incident in the temple with the money changers? Well, that's one of the most important stories to me. The stories of betrayal, love, those are the stories that I resonate with. I gotta say, I'm not a fan of Kevin Smith, right, anymore. But Dogma and that Chris Rock line. I mean, if you really believe that people were married and lived together but they didn't get busy, and you have to believe that as a matter of faith because a story told you, you're unwilling to look around you everywhere and figure out that it had to be you know. So I think Kevin Smith told that really well and mixed in some of that demonic crazy stuff that's really out of the Renaissance and not um, probably shouldn't be canonized in any way. And I don't know my rear end from all on the ground. It's all for entertainment. Just because I'm not saying. I'm saying I think almost all of this is researchable. None of it changes the personal relationship I have in my heart. Um, see, a 10-minute slot really comes out naturally. It felt like I should check and see where we're at. As always, quit smoking. Try to care about your health. I am a complete hypocrite when it comes to that. I'm pretty sure taurine, guarana, caffeine, and nicotine are running this machine right now. But that's what I'm over here for. I'm going to be bringing at least one a week over here that's strictly based on faith-based reaction, and then I want to apply things, my belief system to it. You can take it for whatever you think it's worth. I'm not telling you to dishonor or forget anything. I take some matters as matters of faith. Here, you want to know what I believe? I believe in the teleportation in the Bible. I believe in the flying machines in the Bible. I believe in some of the mystical forces or magical occurrences in the Bible. Do I take every single word in order as the Word of God? No, and I won't go off about genealogies right now. But there's no chance that God would have handed down power structure and control mechanisms. And, well, unless he was the bad guy, and I don't believe that. There's my problem. If you're worried about your bloodline being biblical, you're not attached to your humanity no more, are you? I'm just saying. Um, a lot of the separation we believe in, I think, comes from there. And all I've learned in the last month for sure is we all have more in common, and our humanity is intertwined so much more than we care to admit, that it's time to stop putting up the divisional uh, clickbait headlines. It's stop going, oh, that offends me. Then go somewhere else and let the rest of us have an adult conversation. You're not bringing down the mood because you want to go home and cry. Go home and cry. Then come back and get involved in the conversation. But I believe the future is going to be built on words first, because no one wants what comes next. So, uniting members of the Spirit to members of I want to save my God and country, to people on the other side of the planet tired of being oppressed. We are all commonly united in a single goal, realizing our humanity is shared. How about that? I'm just pulling this out, right? I'm just dumping this out. You have to understand, there's no research, there's no Bible. I'm not pulling out my big book. I'm not reading passages. I'm just sharing it. And because Kobe is so excited, and it appears we have a few other people coming over and jumping on board this path. I ain't gonna lie. I hope this path draws me more than the other. But let's be honest, right here, I don't say this over there. But I'm running a business too. I'm trying to make this thing grow for real. I'd like to do it every day. I would like to have the time to grow here. But if I can't win, it hurts me just to say it. If I can't win over there, and I can't grow all this in the proper way because, well, Kobe, here, go back. I'm not trying to tell you to watch all that the negative or kind of the more extreme music, but go back and find out where I begged for attention, asked for that shit down there when I did any of that. I'm trying to do this from my heart and I don't want to ask for anything from anybody. So the grind is a lot worse because throwing up a good thumbnail to increase my algorithmic chances lowers me to the machine that eats us all up. And that's why I say it. It's not to go, I'm cool. Hey, I'm going to have to go. I forgot about the garbage. I got to get that out. I'll talk to you later. Maybe really soon, but I got to go do the garbage. Sorry.